Welcome to Syncreate, a show where we explore the intersections between creativity, psychology, and spirituality. We believe everyone has the capacity to create. Our goal is to demystify the process and expand the boundaries of what it means to be creative. We talk with visionaries and change makers and everyday creatives working in a wide range of fields and mediums, from the arts to science, technology, and business. We aim to illuminate the creative process, from imagination to innovation and everything in between. I'm Melinda Rothaus, and I help individuals and organizations bring their dreams and visions to life.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Gullick, and I'm a writer, educator, and writing coach. We are the co-authors of a book on the creative process, also called Syncreate. At Syncreate, we're here to support your creative endeavors. If you have an idea for a project or a new venture, and you're not sure how to get it off the ground, find us at syncreate.org. Our book, also called Syncreate, walks you through the stages of the creative process so you can take action on your creative goals. We offer resources, creative process tools, and coaching to help you bring your work to the world. We're offering a monthly coaching group starting in January 2025, and we'd love for you to join us. Welcome, everyone, to the Syncreate podcasts. Today, I'm going to interview Melinda about her creative process because we do a lot of these episodes and we are practicing creatives ourselves. And we thought we'd tap into that to share some of our experiences. And I think for me, sometimes when I hear someone else do something, I get nudged or reminded. Yeah. And so I'm like, we're here to nudge and remind people about what some options in their creative life. So Melinda, you do just about everything. I don't know if you bake well, but otherwise,
no, I'm not a baker.
Okay, we got music, photography, writing, scholarship. Woo! There's a lot that you do, and it seems like you live a life that is steeped in the creative process, and it's inspirational.
Thank you.
And I've been thinking about this, a thing I read, like if we see other people living something and instead of envy, we could be inspired.
Yeah.
And it's been a nice mindset shift for me. So let's talk to you a little bit about what are some of your personal creative habits that you rely on, that you introduced into your life. And it's like, yes, this works for me. This allows me to stay in my creative flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is like my morning practice, which starts with some coffee usually, but then I go right into my meditation practice, and I try to do that before too many of the other demands of the day start to kick in. So technology, phone, all that stuff. I can't say that I don't touch my phone first thing in the morning, but nearly every day, unless I really have something else pressing happening, I will start with some meditation. And that really helps. Again, too, like you were talking about in the prior episode where I interviewed you, just to ground in myself and what's important to me and kind of touch in. And it's a great foundation for the day. So that's one thing.
How many years have you been doing that?
I started really practicing meditation initially when I was living in New Orleans, and I was working with a therapist just on like anxiety and stress management. And she recorded with her own voice a meditation for me. And then I've talked about this a lot, but after I came to Austin, after Hurricane Katrina, went through this breakup, I started meditating as a way to deal with anxiety. And then it became a much deeper journey for me.
I just want to highlight something really important, I think, for folks is the idea that sometimes it's a therapist who said to me that we don't heal by ourselves.
Yeah.
And so you have a daily practice, but you had partnership as you learned that.
And community. Yeah, meditation community. So about 20 years now is the answer to the question. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And, I do journal, not every day, but I do keep a journal to record my thoughts and ideas, or I'll have lyrics, or ideas for a song or a poem come into my mind. And so I utilize that tool. I practice and teach contemplative photography. And that is just a really fun practice that you can do anywhere, anytime, with just a phone, just the camera on your phone, like we were talking about in a previous episode. Wherever you find yourself, you can always take a photo, right? And whether you're just walking along the trail in the morning, or whether I was just in India, so got many wonderful photo opportunities there, and anything in between, so for me, photography is a way of connecting with the world, connecting with the environment in which I find myself, and recording it. So that's definitely a way. So writing, journaling, photography, and then of course I'm a musician. So one of the things I've really started doing is paying attention to that moment when I'm falling asleep, when I'm not quite asleep yet, but your mind starts to go, it starts to wander. And I find myself, in these different scenarios or whatever. And sometimes I'll hear music, and not always, but if I can, get myself to pay attention to what I'm hearing. Like one that came to me that I've been trying to work on. I was falling asleep one night and I just heard this, I wish I could fly. And it went on from there. And I just grabbed my phone, recorded a voice memo, and then I have that to come back to. So like recording your inspirations, I think is an important one, whether you have a little notebook or your voice memos or camera, phone, just to, as we all go through life, like things arise every day, every moment that are of note, and we were just talking previously about, we find ourselves in these situations, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it might be, but there's always a potential for inspiration or something to come back to and revisit.
So one of the things, so many great things that you talked about, but in our book, we talk about pay attention to the whispers of the creative mind. And it sounds like you have a practice of when a thought comes, you do your best to connect to that thought so that you can return to it when you have the time and space to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, one thing that came up as we've been talking, we've been recording some of these mini episodes today, is like, what does it mean to each of us to be a creative person? I think sometimes it's easy, if we haven't touched into our creativity in a while, to feel like, well, I'm not a real musician, or I'm not a real writer, or whatever. But keeping alive these daily practices, even if they don't end up being towards some final product, just the practice of being creative and exercising our creativity helps us remember that we are creative, and to stay connected to that creative identity. And that can look a lot of different ways. And, just because I've accomplished a lot of creative things, I still have those moments where I'm like, well, yeah, but what am I doing now? Or what have I really accomplished? And so sometimes we just have to remind ourselves. And a great way, rather than reviewing, well, okay, I actually have done all these things, is just what can I do right now? Even in 5 minutes, to exercise my creativity and connect to that creative self.
It makes me think about a student that I worked with, and she said she only had 4 minutes a day, but that's how she was writing her novel. And she got a lot done in 4 minutes a day, because the rest of the day her mind was chewing on and getting ready, and then she would, it was pretty distilled by the time she got to it.
Yeah.
So what's your, thank you so much. What would you say is your creativity pro tip?
Yeah, I think it's just that, taking time every single day, maybe at the beginning of the day or whenever is workable for you. Some people, beginning of the day is crazy, but taking 5 minutes to engage in some kind of creative practice, whether it's just taking a single photo or writing for 5 minutes in a journal, or, I was doing a practice for a while of mandala drawings, where you just literally take a Tupperware lid and a Sharpie and make a circle and then, color it in however you want. And that can be a very meditative practice.
Do people know what Tupperware is? Yeah. Is it still around?
I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Anything that's a circle that you can trace with a Sharpie or a marker or a pencil. And get creative.
The other thing that's really interesting, I'd love to talk more about this at some point, is the idea that I think we're putting forward that observing is creativity.
Yeah. Observing, curiosity, openness.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do something about how we define it. Because it really is for everyone.
Yeah. Love it.
Cool.
All right. Okay. So we'll do our outro, which we'll use for all the episodes. Okay.
I'm doing the blue ones, right?
Yes.
Okay. Find and connect with us on YouTube and social media under Syncreate, and we're now on Patreon as well. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and leave us a review.
And again, please join us for our Syncreate monthly coaching group starting in January of 2025. We're recording today at Record ATX Studios in Austin, in person together with Charlotte, which is so wonderful. And the podcast is produced in collaboration with Mike Osborne at 14th Street Studios here in Austin. Thanks so much for being with us, and see you next time.
Find and connect with us on YouTube and social media under Syncreate, and we're now on Patreon as well. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and leave us a review.
And again, please join us for our Syncreate monthly coaching group starting in January of 2025. We're recording today at Record ATX Studios in Austin, in person together with Charlotte, which is so wonderful. And the podcast is produced in collaboration with Mike Osborne at 14th Street Studios here in Austin. Thanks so much for being with us, and see you next time.